Oh my goodness, you guys. Hello, hello. Before we hop into today's episode, I wanted to share with you really briefly something that I have developed for you that will be dropping here fairly soon in the next couple of weeks. I have created an exclusive podcast series entitled Empowered, Embracing Your Brilliance as a Holistic Health Nurse. You guys, we're going to be navigating, we're going to be doing a deep dive into your desires, your fears, how to navigate them, your frustrations, and ultimately how to create the level of income and the level of impact that you truly desire with your holistic health coaching and consulting business. Okay. We're going to be doing a deep dive into not just the physical things that you need to be doing, but how to manage emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and financially. So I'm excited to bring this podcast series to you. Be on the lookout. Empowered, Embracing Your Brilliance as a Holistic Health Nurse. Now for today's episode. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Sharice Williams Show, the only podcast created for the highly conscious, high-impact nurse turned entrepreneur looking to create, launch, and scale a wildly profitable holistic health coaching consulting business from a place of ease and flow, while also optimizing your wellness and vitality naturally. OMG, I could really get that out because I'm so excited about the guest that I have for you guys today. Can we just say Liz Svatek? Let's just say that. Liz Svatek. Okay.
That's why you said it right. So you won the game.
Right? I won. Liz Svatek. All right, Liz. Let me introduce her really quickly, and then we're just going to hop into a really hot conversation, really hot topic. And it's around imposter syndrome. And so Liz Svatek is a midlife transformation coach, host of the top-rated Conversations with Warrior Women podcast, and CEO of Warrior Women, Inc. Liz helps midlife women overcome ruminating thoughts that cause anxiety and stress through humor, cursing, and tangible tools. I love that cursing part. Her signature program, Limitless Warriors, helps women flip the script and unleash their inner warriors so they can live in pure joy. Liz, welcome to the Sharice Williams Show. How are you, my dear?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be with you. We just got to podcast on my show, so now I feel like I came to my playground and now I'm in your playground.
I know. You guys, let me tell you about Liz. So you know how when you just meet someone and you just know instantly, you're like, that's, you know what, she's my people. That's my girl. That's exactly how it was. I met Liz about, I guess it was January 2023. I did a huge event in Florida, West Palm, and immediately your energy was infectious. Your laugh was infectious. Just you literally exude love and strength and power and vulnerability and all the things. And y'all, do you know what she did? She let us borrow her mom. It was a retreat, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's actually called a retreat, but anyway, and you just gifted your mom. You were like, if anyone needs, to be in her space or needs a mother figure or just needs to talk or hug or cry, I just offer you my mom. And her mom was there, of course. And I thought, how sweet is that? Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, well, that mother-daughter thing is real. And I know, I've been able to, in tandem, heal with my mom, which is such a gift. I mean, that's not something that everybody gets to do. And so I recognize that for a lot of people, when my mom is present with me, people have a lot of emotions because they wish their mother could be there, or maybe they lost their mother, or maybe they never healed like something. And so my mom represents a lot for people. So she's generous enough to kind of share herself. So I'm always like, my mom's here if you want to talk.
That is so beautiful. And I remember when you said that, my mom passed away in 2019. And it was, I don't even know what the conversation was at that particular moment. But when you said, I think I just came up to your mom and I just hugged her and cried. No. And I know I'm about to cry now. But anyway, it was just a beautiful thing. So thank you for sharing your mommy with us. And it is so beautiful that you get to heal together. And work through the stuff, the shit. Since you love to curse.
I mean, healing, right? Like that is like real and true. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your beautiful
Thank
mother.
you.
I recognize that that's really a thing for people, and it's a thing for me. So I understand. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So let's hop into this hot topic of imposter syndrome. And I know you and I had a conversation just a couple of days ago about even the word. So let's dive in. Give us your take on imposter syndrome, because the women that are listening to this podcast, they're nurses, doctors, or healthcare professionals. They are transitioning or have transitioned from bedside nursing or bedside care to entrepreneurship. And when they shift, or even not just the initial shift, but every time they're about to, or every time we, because we're not immune to it. Every time we up level, we can start to feel this sense of uneasiness, if you will. So take it from there.
Well, I will say this, as a mother who had a child in the NICU for 52 days.
Wow.
I personally believe that healthcare workers, doctors, and nurses should be bronzed and put like in statues all over the city. So I'm in love with nurses and doctors because they saved my son's life, and they saved my life, truthfully, just for 52 days in the NICU. So that is just, angel level work. So, but I will say that imposter syndrome is a bullshit thing. That's that is my take on it. It is a bullshit.
Hot take, bullshit.
It's bullshit. And the reason why I can call bullshit on it is because the women that originally did the study in 1978 about imposter syndrome didn't even call it a syndrome. That's not a word that they use. This is just some word that we have tacked on. The patriarchy wants to tell us that we have a fucking syndrome.
Yeah. You know how we like to catastrophize things. Things. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous. So it was never a syndrome. It was actually a phenomena. So something like a pattern that they noticed. The pattern that they noticed was when women were incredibly successful, and if they had their whole lives had another person in the family that was considered the smart, successful one, and they were more the sensitive one, they would never really believe in their own capability and success. That was one pattern they saw. Another pattern they saw was when you kind of were the brilliant one, and you were kind of the brilliant one and the smart one, and you always did all the things. And then when you went to college or after college or somewhere in your life later, things became harder for you. You suddenly started to doubt your capability and then feel like a fraud, an imposter. So it was never a syndrome. It is not a syndrome. It is not a thing. Is it a feeling? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a feeling of not being safe because you are leaving your comfort zone, which, by the way, is not even a comfort zone. And we're going to go into that. But you're leaving your comfort zone, and it brings up a fear response. And the fear response is, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I really like? Who's going to believe that I can be this person, right? Which is completely normal as you leave the familiar. When you leave the familiar and you go out of your comfort zone, the fear is going to show up. You have, in fact, plan on it, meet it, and greet it.
Hello. And that's so important that we recognize that when fear shows up, and it's going to, again, no one is immune to this. I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care if you are running a 9-figure company. No one is immune to this. Whenever we step outside of our zone of familiarity or our quote unquote comfort zone, and we're on the edge, like we have our little pinky toe on the edge of our next, boom, fear's gonna get triggered. It trips the wires, and it's like, oh shit, she's doing something different. We don't know what this is. Girl, don't do that. And then we have all these distraction shows up, procrastination shows up, shiny object syndrome shows up. We start hiding behind building our website. Well, I can't do anything until my website's perfect. So I was like, girl, don't nobody know your website. I gotta
check all my boxes because I have to check every single one before I do anything. Yes.
Right, which is just a procrastination, a little tool of fear, right? And recognizing that, I think this is the power of recognizing that when fear shows up, it is not a sign to retreat. It's not a sign to go back. No. It literally is the very indicator that you are on the right track. It's like, girl, you're about to have a breakthrough. Don't stop, keep going.
Yeah, it's a
Right?
green light. It's a green light.
True.
And I think we've been conditioned to feel like this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I am just going to shut this down. Like
Yep.
I'm having doubt, I'm having fear. And so this can't be right. When in reality, it's a sign that it's a green light. It's actually a sign you're doing everything right. You're showing up big, you're doing the things, and that you need to keep going. And like we said, meet it, greet it, and just be okay with it. Say like, oh, okay, this is, of course, Therese and Liz said this was coming. Hello, here it is, right? Yeah. Like it's predictable, knowing that fear is going to show up.
Right, and don't be surprised. and recognize that it's not a one and done. Yeah. You'll traverse this thing, right? So you'll transcend it once, and then you'll be moving and grooving. And then when you're about to again stretch, do something outside of your comfort zone, whether that's press live on, on a Facebook Live or Instagram Live, or whether that's deciding to charge what you're worth, whether that's putting out a big offer like, oh my God, no one's going to ever believe, whatever it is, whenever you're about to do something that's outside of your comfort zone, just know it's going to show up. So don't be surprised. It's all good. So yeah. So what are we calling it now, Liz? I know we said something.
I say it's just imposter feelings, like feelings of being an imposter. Like I feel like a fraud, but really it's just fear. Like we just said, but if you want to say it's imposter feelings, we want to get out of this syndrome.
Right. Like I have a diagnosis. Like I need to be.
I need an antibiotic. I have a syndrome. Like you just have to stop this whole syndrome thing. It's a feeling that you're having, right? And you know what? Listen, it's a real feeling. I'm not saying it's not a real feeling, but what you do with that feeling is the important part. Because like we said, you can use that feeling and then hide behind it and say, well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to hide behind it, redoing my website. I'm going to hide behind, oh, I got to do the laundry. This, my mother-in-law needs me. Or you can say, oh, you know what? Shoot, I must be in this out of the comfort zone. So it's uncomfortable. But growth is uncomfortable. Expansion is uncomfortable. So when you're growing and expanding, you have to kind of say, like, I have to go through that discomfort to get what I really want.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. And, we both are certified mind magicians, right? And so we know that fear has different flavors. So I'm just curious, what's your fear flavor? What shows up for you when you're about to step outside of your comfort zone and you're like, oh, it's happening. Okay, wait a minute. I recognize this.
Oh yeah. I think I have many fear flavors, but I think
we all do.
I think my favorite one is like distraction, like a shiny object. I will be in the middle of doing something huge, like creating a new program, or I'm going to have a sales call and make a new offer. And it's like my biggest offer or something. And suddenly I will want to get up from my desk and go do something. Like I will want to go do the laundry, take the dogs outside. Like suddenly it's like I'm trying to literally physically get out and away from my computer, physically get out of my own space. But now I've learned that I do this. And so I sit my butt back down and I laugh. Well, usually I dance first. I'll dance it out.
I love it. So you shift that. You shift the energy from fear. Let me tell you, music is one of the quickest way to shift any type of feelings, and particularly fear. So go ahead. You have a little dance party.
Yeah, I have a little like Lizzo dance party, Janet Jackson, Diana Ross, something, and I dance around and I laugh because I'll catch myself in the mirror really going for it, and I'll just laugh so hard, and then I'll just come back and breathe and sit down and send that email.
Yeah. You said breathe. So let's take it back because you breezed over that like that's not a thing. And we know that's a thing. And we know that's so important to take intentional breaths. So let's talk about that. So why do you, after you've shifted your energy, you've danced it out? Well, first of all, you've recognized it because that's the first thing. You recognize, oh, wait a minute. I'm doing all these things. And here's the thing. It's a trick of your mind because you feel productive and you are being productive. Right? Like, oh, my mom needs me. Oh, I got to take out the dogs. Oh my gosh, I'm such a good mom or such a good housewife or whatever. Whatever. I did all the laundry. I did the dishes. I reorganized the cabinets. Oh my God. So it gives you that like dopamine hit. Like, oh, I'm doing some things. Yeah, you are, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do. What you know that you are meant to do, which is really when we get down to the crux of it, it's preventing you from making the impact that you really, really want to make.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's important to walk the dogs and, organize the cabinets and put up the laundry, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not what you're on this earth to do. You're here to make an impact, right? And
Yes.
so you shift your energy, you recognize, number one, you
Yeah.
dance it out to shift that energy, and then you breathe. Talk to us about breathing, Liz.
Yeah. So, breathing was not my favorite thing. In fact, I came from a long line of like people that actually held their breath. Like I would be sitting next to my
Mm.
father on the couch and I would hear, like,
Oh, wow.
and so I came from a whole line of people held
Non-breathers.
their breath, lots of trauma in the family.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so I came from that, and they've done studies now that people have Zoom apnea, that people are literally holding their breath on Zooms. People are holding, like they have whole studies now showing how people are actually holding their breath more than breathing. So maybe you think you're breathing, you're walking around breathing, of course you're
Mhm.
alive. But really most of us are holding our breath. So
Yeah.
when you intentionally breathe, when you actually intentionally say, I'm going to take this big breath, what you're doing is you're regulating your nervous system. And so
Yes.
I've learned to regulate my nervous system by taking these intentional breaths. And there's so many different ways you can breathe
Mhm.
and all different like
Mhm.
things you can do. But that's what I've learned to do is take those intentional breaths. I would, and also I was like a short breather. Like I would
Well,
breathe like and stop in my chest. Like I would never
yeah,
go all the way down to like my belly
to your belly. Yeah.
and be like, like I would never have a breath like that. And I remember the first time I started breathing like that, I was literally like almost high. I was like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
amazing, this breathing thing. Like,
It's so funny, and it's when you think about breath, like you said, yeah, we're breathing because we're all alive, but there's a difference between just breathing. And most people, whenever I'm working with my holistic health clients, and even my business clients, now that I mention it, we have all, or a large percentage of us, have gotten used to really doing like this very shallow chest breathing, and we're
yes,
unaware. And I think a lot of us are just walking around here in a heightened state of stress,
yeah,
and because of
and
that,
fight.
it's fight or yeah, and we don't recognize it because that it's now become our norm, right? And so we're just breathing the shallow breathing. And I'll never forget, I was at an event, and it was actually Tracy walked us through a breathing, and I was having a moment. And I'm thinking I'm breathing. She's like, take some deep breaths. And I'm thinking I'm breathing. And she put her hand on my chest, and she was like, not from here. And then she put her hand on my belly. Well, she said, can I touch you? And I said, yes. Anyway, so she put her hand on my chest, and I didn't realize I was breathing because I'm taking deep breaths, but really from up here.
Yep.
And when she put her hand on my belly and I breathed into my belly, I'm like, oh, it feels, number one, it feels different. And
Oh
you're
yeah.
right. And you're right. You do kind of get like this high because you're fully oxygenating. But what it's really doing is it is really calming and recalibrating your nervous system, which is so important.
Yeah, I remember I was
So
there in that
important.
moment. I was watching that happen and I'm thinking, because I can't see right from across the room.
Yeah.
She's like, breathe, breathe. And I'm like, she is breathing, I think. I think she's breathing. I was like, she's really trying to get her to breathe. I thought it was
Yeah.
so funny. But like, it is true. We don't really
Yeah.
realize.
I
And
don't realize it.
that comfort zone, like when we're kind of going out of that comfort zone, we don't realize that like that comfort zone can be a bad thing, right? Like your comfort zone could be, I live in fight and flight and I'm busy all the time and
Yeah.
I'm in this shit marriage and I'm
Yeah.
in this shit job that's killing me. But like that's your quote
Norm.
unquote comfort zone. That's why I call the
Yeah.
comfort zone actually the dead zone,
Hmm.
because you don't realize like you're just fighting your way through life, but it's become normal to
Right.
you. And so when we finally say, oh, how about you launch a business and breathe? It's like that actually feels scary,
Right.
scarier than your job that is killing you. That is
Hmm.
what is so ironic, right? Like when you start really breathing and you start taking care of yourself and starting seeing like, oh, I really cannot be living this way anymore. That doesn't mean it's like the easiest thing to make that leap, right? Like it means
Right.
like I want to make the leap, but like, oh my God, I'm terrified, right? Like it's
Right.
scary. It's scary to get out of the dead zone and into this like new identity and new, like to be an entrepreneur, to have all that freedom and money
Yeah.
and like all of that. You have to be able to receive
Right. You have, oh girl, that's a whole other topic. Have to be able to receive it. We'll have to have another
it.
discussion about that because isn't it true? Like that's what we all want. Like, oh, I want my money, more money. But what's very pervasive, I think for women, but specifically for women in healthcare when they're transitioning to entrepreneurship, is I'm just going to say I mean, I'm cool now, but I didn't recognize that I had an issue with this until I recognized it. But this whole thing about money, being able to ask for money and receive money, and not just ask for money and receive money, but ask for what it is that you want. And I think women in general, whether that's in the bedroom, at your job, in business, we just don't always ask for what we want.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. Don't you find, because I have also women who are like, oh, I don't have a fear of failure. Like, I don't, and I'm like, oh no, because you have a fear of success. That's actually what's bothering you, because you can't even imagine if this business is successful, it will change your relationship. It will change the dynamic in your house. You will have to change. And that feels scary.
Yeah.
And part of that is holding on to the money.
Oh yeah.
Like, not only just being able to receive it, but being able to hold it, meaning you're not just going to go out and spend it, burn it, sabotage yourself because you're not used to holding this much money. You're used to the struggle. You're used to, oh God, just making ends meet, just paying the bills, like you're not used to sitting on some money.
Right? And it's uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, we talked about self-identity evolution, well, kind of a little while ago. I don't know if we have to put words to it, but even wealth identity, like understanding your relationship with money, but understanding your wealth identity. And that does shift. It doesn't have to. Just like it doesn't have to shift. But if you are really playing full out, if you're really allowing yourself to step into the fullest expression of yourself, you will shift your identity with money. You will shift your wealth identity, and it's a beautiful thing. It is
a beautiful thing. Yeah,
it's such a beautiful thing.
I want women to have money. I mean, you're one of the reasons why I know you do, and why you are so good, Charisse, at what you do, is you want women to be successful. You want women to be independent and have money. And I have the exact same, I teach a whole course on this, Warrior Women in Business. And I am so invested because I realized I was teaching all these mindset courses and people were doing really well, but then they were still not launching the business. They were still, because they had so much fear around like making their own money and like being out there and, putting themselves out there. And I kept saying, well, you're not putting yourself out there. Because you're putting your business out there, and your worth is not up for negotiation. Your worth is non-negotiable.
That's right.
It's not about putting yourself out there. You're putting this business idea out there, like having a little like detachment on it so that you could actually do this business and not take everything so personally. We just love it. We like love everything. We want to please everyone, and we want right. So we personalize it, and then we get in our own way with these BS things like imposter syndrome and making everything mean something, right? So that launching a business becomes like really kind of traumatic to us, versus if we kind of look at it like, well, this doesn't mean anything about me. I'm just putting this idea out there. I want to try this. It may not work, but it may work, and it's and I'm going to put it out there. That to me is like an easier way to be a woman in business and to open yourself up to actually having money.
Yeah, it's like take the pressure off. There's no need to be so pressurized, because when we're pressurized, we can't fully, I don't really like to use the word perform, but we can't fully do what it is that we're here to do, because we're too afraid to make a mistake. We're so concerned about what people are going to say. We've got to get it, quote unquote, right. It's got to be perfect. And let's just face it, nothing is perfect. I mean, that's just a facade. It's a figment of our imagination. Perfection does not exist, right? And so, but when we are able to kind of just take the pressure off, like, this is what I want to bring to the world, and I'm gonna have fun with it. And because I'm gonna have fun, and here's the thing I always say: the more fun you're having with it, the more success you're gonna find.
100%.
Yeah.
The more convicted you are, the more you're feeling it. Like, oh my God, this is my meaning and my purpose.
Yeah.
I've seen women who think they are not going to sell one thing.
Oh yeah.
Not going to have a successful, but just by their sheer passion and boldness, like they literally almost like trip over the success, because they are they don't even realize, like they're so fueled and fueled up, and they're so excited. They literally magnetize clients to them because, and then
that's
they have to come to me and be like, wait, now what do I do?
Right.
Now what do I do? Yeah.
Isn't that so fun? So like, I'm sure both of us have experienced that. Clients that come to us, you're like, okay, so someone paid me. Now what do I do? And it's like, and I'm like, first of all, yeah, we celebrate. Yay, you did the thing. And now let's send them a contract. Let's do this. Let's keep things rolling. But isn't that so fun though?
No, but it is. And you know what? I think part of this is we think everything has to be hard, right? Like we're
oh my God.
Right? Like,
can you say it again?
Work hard, play hard. You got to work harder. You know, all this stuff. Like
and you've got to earn it.
Yeah, we got to earn it. Like we've been convinced everything has to be hard. And then so when we almost are suspicious when things are kind of flowy and easy. We're not used to that. It's so funny.
Right. It's so funny. That is my mantra. Yeah, that is my mantra. Like creating successful businesses and scaling your business from a place of ease and flow. I mean, and I mean that. It's not just something cool to say. I mean that. And one of the things I know when I'm not, it's an indicator to me that I'm something's out of alignment is if I'm not having fun and it starts to feel like work, like it feels hard. It shouldn't feel hard. That's not to say there aren't going to be difficult things because you've not done certain things. Yeah, there's going to be challenges and you're going to traverse them or transcend them. That's my program. And one of the names of my program, you're going to transcend that. But that's how I know, when it starts to get hard and laborious, I'm like, this ain't it. What am I doing? So I got to shift something here.
You know when I know?
How do you know?
And this is in my human design, which is so funny. When I get a sense of bitterness, like when I'm bitter or like resentful, I'm like, that is my indicator that I need to put everything down, walk away, get your time off, like get out of the computer, get outside, like just literally, like I've noticed that about myself, like, cause I'm very positive and like, I'm very, like, I show up big and I love to like be fun and outrageous, but like, I can feel that sometimes where this little bitterness starts to kind of bubble up. And then I'm like, ooh, too much. I need to like pull back and just take a breath.
Yeah. And to have that level of awareness, of self-awareness is so very important. Going back to just how we've been programmed for hard, right? And we've also been, I always say this, we are so disconnected. Although we are in a, tech age and we're connected to everything, we are so disconnected from ourselves. Yeah. So I just really want to, recognize you and applaud you for even recognizing or having that level of self-awareness to where you're like, I'm feeling bitter. I'm feeling resentful. That's my cue to shift. For me, it's when I start to feel like constricted, and I guess the best word I can use is constricted, because one of my core values is freedom, fun and freedom. And so if I'm not having fun and I feel like my sense of time is being constricted, like I've overbooked myself for certain things, any type of like constriction, I'm like, that's my cue. We got to make a shift because this is not how I roll. This is not how.
And it's funny too, because like when you're in that place, nothing good is going to come from that, right? You can't,
no.
You can't be coaching from that space. You can't be creating from that space. So like the feeling you have is like, no, I'm just going to push through this. I'm going to keep going because, right? Like I do that. Like,
that's what we've been trained to do. Just keep going, keep going.
I just want to keep going. And then I realized like, oh no, nothing good is coming from that. Like that is like literally, and when I'm getting bitter and resentful, it's usually because I'm not really having a boundary around something. And sometimes it's an internal boundary. Like, oh, I am working too hard. I am like giving too much of my energy away. Like right now, like, it's kind of like, you don't know what boundary it is, but usually resentment and bitterness is a boundary.
Yeah. So true. So true. So you mentioned human design. What's your human design?
I am a projector.
Oh, I'm a mannequin. I always say manifestor generator.
Generator. Yeah.
So I love human design. So you're a projector. Yes. So tell me about that. So what are projectors? What does that mean exactly?
So projectors are like the visionaries and the guide, and they have a thing where it's about waiting for the invitation. And I remember the first time I heard like waiting for the invitation, I was like, oh my God, I have to wait for people. And then I got
to say, that doesn't sound like you, Liz.
Right. But I do now understand it, because part of that is people have to be ready to do a certain level of work with me. There has to be like a willingness, and there has to be a recognition that I'm the one that they want to do this work with, because they could be doing the work with me or with you or with someone else, right? Like we don't know. So part of that is just the recognizing like, oh, is this person receiving what I'm putting out there, and they're interested in hearing more, like giving the space for that. So it's not that I can't put things out there, but it's about like also seeing what's coming back to know what, like if I need to go back again, right? So I've learned that kind of dance, you know, with women and the women I coach, like some of them don't feel ready. And like and of course I tell them, you'll never feel ready.
You're never going to feel ready. I mean, it's the truth. You're never going to feel ready.
You know, they'll say it's not the right time. I'm like, because it will never be the right time. Like, you know, so I know all those things, but I also have to give them space that they can process that stuff and really like be with me long enough that they can trust that what I'm saying is true. Right. And have that trust so that they can enter in a relationship with me and do the work that they need to do. But that requires a little bit of a trust, right?
Yeah,
like in a relationship building. So I've learned that through human design. And I love human design. I think it's really,
I think it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Yeah. So we talked about, so we've been, you know, discussing imposter feelings.
Imposter feelings.
Imposter feelings. And that's all they are. They're feelings just like any other feeling that can shift. We talked about, because I want to just kind of give the women that are listening some tangibles. So when you're having those feelings of imposter, feelings of being an imposter, one of the things Liz said is that one, recognize it, right? Like, oh, okay, I feel this. Two, Liz, that you dance to kind of shift the energy. Three, you breathe intentionally. I like to do 4-4-4 breathing or alternate nostril breathing, whichever. What are some of the other things? What are some of the other air quotes tools that we can give those that are listening to help navigate when they are feeling this sense of imposter?
Well, usually when you're in the imposter feelings, you're out of your body, right? So anything to get back in the body. So that could be you go outside and put your feet in the grass. That could be you go on what I like to call a dance walk, where you are walking around the neighborhood to some great music and dancing. I am super into, people are like, they really appreciate my hilarious choreography in my neighborhood. Just saying.
Oh my God.
Very famous in my neighborhood. I also really, really like to do tapping. I feel like
EFT.
EFT tapping is really, and I don't do it with a script. I do it. I teach women to kind of coach themselves through that process, so you can actually hear what is actually really going on in your own body and mind. But I think it's really useful. I've had people go through, I mean, some of the worst traumas you've ever could even conceive of, and literally 3 rounds of tapping, the relief they feel is almost unbelievable. So I really believe in the power of tapping.
Yeah, that goes back to that being connected to your body, right? We've become so disconnected, and I love grounding too. I do that at least once a day. I literally go outside. It doesn't even matter how cold it is or how hot it is. It doesn't matter. I'll go outside and just scrunch my toes up in the grass for a little bit. I love that. I love that. Oh, this has been such a beautiful conversation, Liz. I know you have something really special for those that are listening. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, I am the midlife transition queen. And so as such, I must bequeath a gift to all of your lovely, beautiful doctors and nurses. I have something called the Empowered Midlife Playbook, and it is a 6-episode private podcast and a workbook. It's basically like a little mini program, and it's totally free. And it's really, really valuable. So I would love to gift that. I'll give you the link to put in the show notes. I'd love to gift it to you.
That is so beautiful. And I think we have it actually. I'm going to have the team put it in the show notes link below. Yeah. And I'll definitely post all your socials down below too, for those that are listening that are like, oh my God, that were like me when I first met you. Like, oh my God, this is my people. She's my girl. How do I stay connected? So I'll make sure that I'll link all of your socials down below in the show notes as well. And are you ready for our rapid fire?
It's my favorite. I'm ready.
It's your favorite? Okay, rapid fire. Here we go. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Oh my God, I can't believe you're asking this question. I would say Leif Garrett. He had, like, to me, the best hair, and he was kind of like sexy. He was like a singer, you know, kind of rocker, like, I don't know, something about him was like this combination of edgy and, like, I don't know, he was kind of feminine too. I don't know, he had all the things going on all at once. He had the hair, the whole thing.
Do you have posters on your wall? As
I
a
did, of
teenager,
course.
or no?
Yes. By the way,
That's so cute.
many. I had Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah,
Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid. I loved.
of course.
Rob Lowe. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So who is no. I want to ask you this. What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Well, I don't believe in guilty pleasures because I think that
Okay.
pleasure is a gateway to power. So I don't believe
Ah,
in any guilt in my pleasure. Let me just say.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Pleasure is a gateway to power. So I would
Yeah.
say one of my pleasures is taking a bath, like a long,
Mhm.
bubbly, salts, like bath salts, all the things in the bath, and literally like staying there. I even let the water drain out and I
Mhm.
sit there for another 5 or 10 and I will air dry. That's how much I love it.
Oh wow. I've never considered that. I let the water out and then I fill it back up. I am notorious for taking 2-hour baths, and I do that just about every day.
Okay, that's
Um,
brilliant. Putting the water
I,
back in. I'm gonna think about that. I like that.
as you were saying that, I'm like, oh, it'd be cold, like air drying.
No,
I feel
because
like I
you're so hot and the room is like the bathroom
okay,
is
it
hot.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it just sort of like you just stay there in the
Okay.
steam, in the steaminess.
I'm gonna try that later on today.
I love it.
And I'm gonna let you know how that goes. Okay, cool. All right. And I love what you said. That pleasure is the gateway to power. And it's so true.
Right?
It is so true. Oh, girl, that's a good one. That's good. Okay. Who is one person who you would trade places with for a day?
Oh my gosh, who would I trade places with for? You know who I would? Taylor Swift. I would like to and not because of Travis Kelce, because honestly, like he's fine. He's not my type. But I just to like see what it's like to live in her world and like be on the stage and like having these concerts. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, it's probably otherworldly. Yeah,
Yeah.
but fun, fun, fun. Okay, I love that. You're a Swiftie. Okay. All right. Biggest risk you've ever taken?
Ooh. I honestly, I would say starting my coaching business, starting my
Yeah.
business, like taking that leap into, certifying and becoming a coach and starting my business. That was like a big, big leap because that was the first thing I did that I really truly wanted to do versus like what does everyone else think I'm good at? And what
Hmm.
else, what should I do? Like it was the first time I was like listened to like really my inner dialogue of like, oh no, I wanted this. This would be so good, and it scared me to death, but it was so worth it.
And you did it anyway. I love it. And I have a sneaky suspicion that you were probably, like most who move into the coaching space, you were probably already coaching people on some level.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what's so
Yeah.
ironic about this, right? Like people kept
Yeah.
saying, "You should be a coach," and I was like, "No, there's too many coaches. There's too like I had
Mhm.
every excuse in the world why
Mhm.
I shouldn't actually do it because the fear felt so big. Like I was like, I can't do this. There's no way.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I don't know what
Oh,
qualifies
yeah.
me to do this. Like all the mind fuckery that we can have over things
Right.
like this. But I will say that I was absolutely doing this work for free,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for
And I,
free
right.
everywhere.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure of it. I point that out because those of you that are listening, you are already doing the work. I'd be willing to bet the house, the farm, the car, the whole. I don't have a farm, but whatever. I'd really, I'd be willing to bet you're already doing it in some capacity for free,
100%
right? And so just do the doggone thing for real, for
for
real.
real.
And I could listen. I was in the closet. I'm gonna quote unquote. I was in the closet. I was coaching in the closet for many many years because I kept thinking like, who am I and what are people? Not really so much what are people going to think. It was more, do I know enough?
Right.
But here's the thing: I'm coaching people anyway, and they're getting great results. And because I started in the coaching space with holistic coaching before I transitioned to business coaching, and people are getting results. And people. Here's the thing: here's how you know people are already showing up in your experience now. You're already helping them now for free.
Yep.
You're already doing it anyway. So I love that you
Absolutely.
mentioned that. Okay, here we go. What is something you wish you were better at?
What is something I wish I was better at? Dancing.
Oh,
Like, I feel like
I've
I'm
seen
good
you
at dancing.
dance, Liz.
I know I'm not terrible at it, but I would love to be like really good. Like I would love to be like someone who could do like the crazy, like I see these like hip hop and jazz people and they can really move their bodies. Like it's so beautiful. Like I would love to be able to be like just coming at it and doing like leaping around and doing splits and all the things.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That sounds fun. I have a story, but I'm not going to go there. Okay. What would you? No, sorry. Who would you love to be stranded on a deserted island with?
Myself.
Ooh.
I'd love to be stranded on an island with myself.
Solitude.
Dreaming, tanning, swimming. Oh my God. I would just be like enjoying myself, being quiet, meditating, like, oh my gosh, all the things. Just enjoying nature. Listen, I'm a mother of 2. I've been married 21 years. My alone time is very precious to me, Cherise.
I am with you.
I would love to be alone on an island.
I am with you. I am with you. I love that. And that's okay. And that's perfectly okay. And so I have to ask you this, since we're talking about deserted islands, if you could only take one thing with you on your deserted island, maybe it's a product or whatever, just one thing with you, what would that be? Mine is lip gloss. I gotta have lip gloss.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it would be my phone, but not because of the reason.
No, you can't.
But not because of the reason you think.
Okay, go for it. I'm listening.
On my phone, I have the Kindle app, and I am the biggest reader in the world. I've already read, I think, probably 20 books, and it's
this year.
Yeah,
you go, girl.
I know. So I am an avid, voracious reader, and so that would you could shut everything else off on the phone. I just want the Kindle app so I can have all. Because I also like to switch to different books. Like I'm in the mood to read this fun one right now, or this personal growth one right now, or this success book right now. So I want to be able to move around and have all my different books.
I love it. I love it. What's one of the books you're reading right now? You can have your phone on the deserted island, assuming there's electricity, so you can charge your phone. So, but what are one of the books that you're reading right now?
I'm reading Always Be the Buyer.
Ooh, oh, I have that book.
Yeah,
I have that book. Oh, that's a good book. Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
I'm loving that. I like that whole concept, and I'm teaching my ladies that too.
Oh, that's so powerful. I love it. Okay, last thing. Tell us something we don't know about you.
Well, I don't want to shock you, but I was kicked off of Romper Room when I was 6 years old because I had watched Romper Room on the television, and they always said the little kid's name in the mirror, and I got a chance to go live, and I was really sure that Miss Susie was going to say my name when she looked in the mirror. I see Susie, I see Cherise, and she did not say my name, Cherise. And so I went up and I took the mirror out of her hand and I called my own damn name. And I've been calling my name ever since.
I love this. This is so Liz. This is so Liz.
It's so me.
Listen, you're not going to call my name. I'll call my own name.
I'm going to call my own damn name. That's what I'm going to do.
How about that? I love it, Liz. This has been so much fun. So much fun. Thank you for playing along with the rapid fire. And thank you just for your time, for your wisdom, for your reframing, helping us reframe the word imposter syndrome just to imposter feelings. That's all. Yep. Just feelings. Yep. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me on. You're so brilliant and bright, and I love being in your energy. I will do anything that you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. And it's likewise. The feeling is mutual, and you know that. So, all right. Thank you so much to those that are listening. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Cherise Williams Show. And join us next week for a brand new episode. See you then. Bye for now.